So now we're walking around the pear tree just to look and see how it looks. We have the Asian pear tree. I've done some videos and stuff on the Asian pear tree, and it is ripe. We've picked a bunch. There's still a bunch on here to pick. Let's look at this one here. Just perfect specimen. It rained last night, so it's nice and clean. Let's give it a try. It just doesn't get any sweeter than that. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Back Garden Yard channel. Today we are doing our winter pruning. We are going to prune a pear tree, and we're going to prune a persimmon tree. And I'm going to show you how the best way to increase your yields by at least 100%, maybe more, by proper pruning. So the first thing we want to look at today is the shape of the pear tree and the shape of a tree, most fruit trees that you want to prune. And the way we're doing that is you cut the middle out when it's a young tree. And I believe you can see here just exactly how the middle of this tree has been cut out. And then you can see that it's growing out. And of course it grew out so far that at one time I had to actually tie these limbs up because they wanted to break off. I finally just ended up cutting part of them off. But that's the way you want to do it. You want to open this tree up in the middle. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to cut all these leaders that are going straight up off. One thing, they don't make fruit, and the second thing is you couldn't reach the fruit even if it did make fruit up there. So we're going to cut all those off. We don't want the tree getting any higher. We will let it continue to come out to the side, but not too much. And then I'm going to show you all the different things you need to do to decide which ones of these you cut off and which ones you leave. Now this particular pear tree is an Asian pear tree, and it makes about 100 pears a year. The tree is over 12 years old. It's a mature tree, and it self-pollinating. I only need one, and we get good harvest from this tree every year. So the first thing I want to show you are the tools that we're going to need to trim this tree with. So I've got them laid out on this table, and the first thing is just your old pair of regular hedge clippers. We can just use these for the very small branches. And then this is one of my favorites here. These are called lopping shears, and what's really cool about these is when you want to get those high branches, you can literally just flip a couple of levers here and you can turn them into very long lopping shears, just like this. Now I've got long lopping shears, and that'll work. And then I've got a new tool. I found this one at Walmart, and it's of course in the new battery powered lithium ion age. You unlock it here and then push it down and watch what happens. And you go, well, is that strong? Well, let's go test it out first. Now remember, I said these high leaders are the ones that you want to get off. Now I usually take those off first, and that way then you can see a whole lot better what's going on with the tree once you know you're going to get these that have to come off. And that one is many feet tall. Now what should be good about this new tool is I should be able to hold it with one hand and then use this tool with the other hand, and that way I won't have this branch falling on me or about to stab me as it falls, whereas that's what happens with the lopping shears. So let's give this a try. And here we go. We got the first long branch down that we knew we wanted to cut, and you can see that it's already budded out, and it's definitely time to go ahead and be pruning this tree with all those little buds there. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do, is cut those. Now, for the purposes of this video, I am not going to stand here and cut all these in front of the camera. The next thing I want to show you is the second thing that we want to do, and that will be to look and decide which of these new growth is going to be shaded out when there's leaves on the trees, and then we won't need those branches in there. And the reason is they won't make good fruit, or they'll make very small fruit because they're not going to get the sun. So what we're going to want to do is this right here is under all these other branches here. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off. And we're going to do the same thing with this one over here. And we're also going to do the same thing with this one in here. And notice I'm not cutting them all the way down to the very, very edge of the limb. I'm leaving just a little bit, and you can see where I did this last year and how it healed. And let's take a look at that. And I cut some off that same branch just like that last year, and that's the way it healed. And then the third job will be out here on these ends, and what that's going to be like is, you see every one of these little buds is going to bloom and make flowers. Well, you can go ahead and wait until they flower if you want to, but if I'm out here pruning, I just as well go ahead and take some of these off. So the ones I want to take off, of course, are going to be anything that's pointing down, like this one. And then the ones that are pointing straight up, I'll probably want to take those off. Okay, and I'm going to leave these to go ahead and bloom, and I may take some more off as they bloom, but that way you're decreasing the amount of blooms that are going to be on here. And the same way here, this end here, this is not going straight up, and it's already been pruned on the end, so I'm going to leave this whole little section, but I'm going to take this one behind that's going straight up. I'm going to take it off. And there you go. And then I've got these here are going down, and I'm going to take these here are going down. I'm going to take these. Okay, I'm going to leave this one that's coming out, and this is the way you're going to go through and trim the tree once you've got the tall leaders off, and prepare it for next year's crop. There you go. I got another one going down here, and this one's pointing up, so I'm going to leave it. It's pointing up and sideways. All right, and then it's the same thing here. Once again, I've got it going straight up and it's under this one. So I'm going to come through here and I'm going to, you can see where I've already pruned that once, but I'm going to come through again, and right over this bud here, I'm going to cut this off. And then the rest of this, I'm going to leave and let bloom, except for these two little ones that are pointing down. And we'll look at this one here. It looks like it's doing good. These are all coming out. This one's pointing down. These are going out to the side. There'll probably be too many pears on this, but I'll wait until it blooms and they set the fruit, and then I'll take off some of the little pears. This one over here is basically still coming out sideways, so I'm gonna leave it. So now you can see this one limb here, I have got all the different things off of it, except for this one in the back here. And I want that one, it's going straight up into the center of the tree. We don't need that. Okay, so this limb is prepared for next year's bloom and production. And I'm gonna have to do that to the whole tree. And I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then I'm gonna show you how. But first, once again, let's take one final look at the tree before, because I'm gonna be standing right here after also. So this is the before I actually pruned the whole tree with the methods I just showed you. Okay, and so I'm gonna do this and I'll be back after I prune it. Okay folks, so I have finished the job and the pear tree is now pruned, and I got all these limbs off of it. I didn't collect the twigs, but all these limbs were taken off, and I'll show it from the same angle I just showed it to you from. And now you can see that there's no tall limbs left on it, and most of the down limbs are gone. I mean, I didn't get it 100%, but there's still plenty of buds left on it, because it won't make any new buds before spring, but there are plenty of buds still left on this. And I'm only wanting to get about 100 pears off of this tree, and I'll still have to thin the amount of pears that come on after it blooms. So I'm not worried that I took too much off of it, but now I'll be able to reach every pear that's on the tree. Okay, well now let's go and look at the persimmon tree. Okay, so we have basically the same situation with this persimmon tree. Now, if you'll notice, it doesn't have the confluence of buds at the ends of all these branches that the pear tree has. It won't bloom nearly as many blooms. So what you want to do is, when you start pruning it, and as you can see, we've opened up the middle of this one the same way as the other one, but you want to get it, of course, you can see where it was been previously pruned here, but you want to prune it back, but you want to leave some of these nodes here, because these will swell out and make buds. So they're not as quick to bloom as the pear tree is. The pear tree will be the first bloomer in the garden, and it blooms first, then makes leaves. This one makes leaves and then blooms. So that's the big difference of these persimmon trees. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking off these tall leaders, but I'll leave a little bit here so it can bloom. Same here, so it can bloom. And then on the ends, I will make sure that when I take some of these off, that I don't take the whole thing off, or I'll be taking all my possible buds off. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll go ahead. I think we've got a pretty good vantage point to see this tree from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and prune it back, and then I'll come back and show it to you. Okay, so I have finished trimming this persimmon tree, and as you can see, it's got most of the tall limbs have been taken out. Now I left a few right here in the middle, and the reason is you can see where these old persimmon were actually coming up here. They will actually put on higher and on more straight up limbs than will the pears. So that's why I left these. As long as I can reach them with the step ladder, it's okay to leave a few of the taller limbs, and I'll have to come out and get those with the step ladder, but that'll be okay. This tree doesn't have as much growth down inside it here at head height, so if I want to get a good crop, I have to let it grow a little taller, and that's what I'm doing with this one. And so it's all trimmed up though, it's looking nice. And one more thing, next week I'm going to trim this muscadine, and as you can see, it's a huge mess. So make sure you like and subscribe, and especially if you're subscribed, then you'll be able to see me trim this back to the right shape and size to make lots of muscadines again next year. This is a very mature muscadine plant, but I'm not going to do it today. I've got a new tool coming, and we're going to try that, so I'm excited to try that, and I'll be doing that next week.